Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Oh, good morning. It is Thursday, and this is Run It Back. Thursday is like our Friday, and that's why we look happy. Stadium insider Shams Charania, Chandler Parsons, Lou Williams coming at you from all over the United States of America on this morning. And we had a lot of games last night, a lot of games. We want to get right into it. The battle for the East was on. Boston, Philly, and the Sixers hang on to this one, defeating a 106-103. 6-1, y'all. Joel Embiid, 27-10-4. Tyrese, that's the story, 25-9-5, and Porzingis threw in 29 points for his end. Look, it was Celtics. That's how we started this season as we started talking about it. But the Philly Sixers have just kind of quietly jumped in there, Chandler. Look, I know we're a few games in, but any game could be a statement game. Was this one?
Yeah, and we said it yesterday that this was a huge statement game for them, and we know it's early, but with everything that's been going on with James Harden, all these distractions, all these talks, they finally make the move, and now this is their big first game without him, with, you know, kind of the keys given to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, obviously, as being their centerpieces, and they played really well. And this is a game that, you know, they could have even played better, and they haven't even been that efficient offensively, but those two guys have been carrying the load. They've been getting a lot of production from Kelly Oubre, from Tobias Harris. So with the absence now of James Harden, those guys are getting more opportunity. And we called it last night or yesterday morning. The Celtics don't really have anybody for Joel Embiid. The whole league really doesn't, but this put people on notice because, including us, we've been talking all season long so far that it's just the Bucks, it's the Celtics, and there's a huge drop off. But the Sixers are proving us wrong. They're proving us wrong. They're a deep team. They can really, really defend. They have a versatile lineups. They can go small. They can go big. I love everything they're doing. And Tyrese Maxey is absolutely blossoming into a star.
Yeah, that's part of the story. We'll get into a little bit more Maxey, but Shams, we're going to start early on this one. The ceiling for this Sixers team, as Chandler said, they weren't necessarily super, super strong on the offensive side, but still got this win. What is the ceiling for this team?
The beauty, I think, about this year's Sixers is really there's no ceiling that you can point to right now because this is a different offense that Nick Nurse is running. And when you think about last season, the ball was primarily in James Harden's hands and Joel Embiid's hands. And then everywhere else, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, you really get in where you fit in. But like if they were to reintegrate James Harden this season before the trade, if he had come back, they would have played a totally different style. So seeing James Harden in a free-flowing offense, it would have been interesting for sure. But when you think about statistically, Joel Embiid goes off 27 points, Maxey, we know, 25. Then you have Tobias Harris with 17. Oubre's played such a big role. Last year, he averaged 20 points a game on a non-contending Charlotte team. This year, he's playing for a 6-1 team, averaging almost the same amount. And so Kelly Oubre's had a big year. So this is a more free-flowing team. There's going to be an adjustment period with the new, with guys like Covington, Batum, Marcus Morris being wrinkled in. But this is a team that definitely, you think about trying to get out the first round, then you get to the second round, and then you have a puncher's chance against either Milwaukee, against Boston, and then the big caveat here is, do they get another star player? Do they get another big, offensive player in the lineup in the second half of the season? They have 3 first-round picks to play with. They have multiple contracts. They can go out and be aggressive to put another piece around Maxey, Harris, Oubre, and Joel Embiid if they want to in the second half of the season.
It's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about that a lot, I'm sure, the course of the season. Look, Joel Embiid, I know we talk about Jokic and Luka and Tatum, and rightfully so, as some of the best players in this league. But Embiid last night, reigning MVP, including the big shot to put things away. I don't know, Lou, are we sleeping on Embiid? Are we just not giving him enough as far as props are concerned?
You know what, Michelle, from Joel's standpoint, I'm loving this approach. He's usually a guy that has so much to say. He makes so many colorful comments. He's always in the news for ribbing guys and giving guys a hard time. Hey, besides the DX celebration, we hadn't heard a lot about Joel Embiid. We hadn't heard much from him either. And he's letting the numbers in his play talk for itself. And so I'm loving this new style of his. I'm just going to go out there, whoop everybody's ass, be one of the best players in the world, and I'm going to let people talk about what they want to talk about. So right now, he's letting his game, he's letting his numbers talk, and he's being quiet. I love it.
He's free. He's free. On the other side, too, Tyrese Maxey also very much blossoming in this. We mentioned him right off the top, but I want to concentrate a little bit more on him right now, Chandler. Where are you putting him on the level in the league right now? Like, if you had to all NBA, like, where would you put him as he's playing?
It's tough, again, because this is a small sample size, but he is playing at that level right now. Is he a top 15 all NBA player? Who knows? We'll see if he continues to be this consistent for 82 games. But how he's playing right now, it's hard to overlook it. But even last night, he was inefficient. He was 11 for 27, but he does everything. He plays with such a high motor. Most importantly, he plays. He doesn't miss a lot of games. He plays 40 minutes when he's in there. He had 8 or 9 rebounds last night, 7 assists. So he's impacting the game in a lot of multiple ways. He's not just this scoring high volume guard. He is a centerpiece to build around to continue to grow. And he's super, super young, and winning cures everything. So yeah, if Philly somehow ends up in the top 2 or top 3, which is what they're looking like they're going to be this year, you probably got to reward 2 of those guys on the All-Star team or All-NBA team. So it's going to be Tyrese Maxey. So I'm happy for the kid. He's getting an opportunity and he is taking full advantage. That's what me and Lou were talking about with the James Harden thing. A lot of teammates, when that stuff's going on, they're chomping at the bit. They great. Keep going. Keep staying away. Keep doing that because they're ready for the opportunity. And Tyrese Maxey's taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, he is really shining with the absence of Harden. So on the other side of things, Jaylen Brown, we know he got a big old deal in the offseason, but he seems to be struggling a little bit. The numbers are down across the board. He only had 11 points last night. He was 4 of 13 on shooting. I know he's got new players to adjust to in Holiday and Porzingis, Lou, but is there anything bigger here that we need to be concerned with?
Yeah, I don't want to say concerned, but I would love to see him play better. Love to see him be more efficient on the offensive end. When you watch Jaylen Brown play, he takes a lot of contested shots, makes a lot of contested shots as well. And right now they're not going his way. So I would like to see him have the game come to him a little bit more, play a little bit more efficiently, get open looks, maybe play with his back to the basket a little bit and use his size to kind of get out of this rut. But as far as his new teammates concerned, he's played with talented players before, and he's one of the top 2 guys on that team. So Drew Holiday and Porzingis, they shouldn't be affecting how he plays. They should be getting in line and waiting their turn for him and Jason Tatum to figure out how this team is going to roll and everybody else fall in line. And so I just think he should play better, but I don't think it's concerning.
I'll say this, Lou, the starting 5 might arguably be the best starting 5 in the NBA, but their bench is thin, man. Like,
but they've never had a bench.
Hauser, Pritchard, and Al Horford. That's a championship bench. They go 8 deep. That's a concern for me. And I understand that they're going to space out the rotations and the playing time and having, Tatum and Brown with those guys. But I see across the board, a lot of NBA teams with better benches, deeper teams than the Boston Celtics.
That's why I'm not really rooting them out, because I've never really seen this team with a deep bench. I think they've always been top heavy and they've always made their way into the Final Fours of the season. And so it can be concerning based on how other teams are built and how matchups go down the line. We shall see. But so far, man, this is how this team has been built throughout the years of them being successful. The last 4 years, they've never had a deep bench, really, to me.
That's something to keep our eye out as the course of the season goes on. And here we go, y'all. It was the matchup of all matchups. Lakers, Rockets. Man, Rockets blowing out the Lakers in this one. 128-94. You didn't have Anthony Davis, of course. LeBron finished with 18 in 27 minutes. Jalen Green, 28 points in 21 minutes. And look, Lou, coming into the game, we know the deal. Dylan Brooks talking about LeBron. Who won this battle? Just a battle.
Give credit where it's due. Dylan Brooks is up 1. Dylan Brooks 1, Bron 0 to start the season. But again, I mentioned yesterday, I think Dylan Brooks is the only person involved in this rivalry. I think LeBron showed up, played as well as he could, shorthanded. They didn't get the job done on the road. And as you can see from all the antics from Dylan Brooks, standing in front of LeBron, screaming when he gets a stop after just being scored on the possession before that, it's obvious this was a game that was circled on his calendar, and for LeBron, it was business as usual. Or LeBron can just be playing coy and pretending like it's not one of those things that get under his skin. But so far this season, Dylan Brooks 1, LeBron 0.
Man. What a world. What a planet. What a like there was a moment. Okay, here's the video. just reminiscent of so many great things. But LeBron and Dylan, this is during a break in the action.
And Michelle, I saw your tweet. That was hilarious.
Right? It's like it's Lance Stevenson reincarnated. I love it. I don't know what's going on necessarily, but Chandler, what do you think's happening other than
it reminds me of that video of Colin Sexton in high school where the kid at the free throw line's looking at him. Do you guys ever see the video? And then all of a sudden Colin Sexton just kind of looks back at him and he's in this like 6-year-old stare off. Listen, this is, again, Lou hit it. Give Dylan Brooks his credit. I don't know when they play again next. I don't know when that is, but I will be taking LeBron James over because I don't think he cared about this, but I think he's definitely annoyed that the outcome of the game turned out like this. And look, Dylan Brooks had 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 20. Not like he lit up. It's not like he lit up the court, but his team won, and his teammates rallied around him, and his teammates played very, very well. And this is what Dylan Brooks does. He is a versatile, defending, strong wing who can get in your head, who's going to do things like this to get himself going. Again, Lou said it. LeBron doesn't care. This isn't a rivalry. This is Dylan Brooks getting himself fired up against arguably the greatest player of all time, which kudos to him. It worked out this time. I'm excited for the next time.
CP, I got to be honest with you. I didn't watch one single second of that game last night. But game 2, I will be tuned in.
For sure.
I definitely will be a viewer the next time they play because LeBron James is a petty, petty guy, and he's going to want his lick back.
And wait, Dylan played like great post defense on him. He was active. He was getting his hand in, like he manned up last night. But
I'm sure Dylan Brooks lit the town on fire last night after that game.
Oh, he's still at Treasures right now.
It's his championship.
This moment.
No, LeBron will remember. We know this about him. The Anthony Davis of it all, Shams, though, he didn't play. Yesterday, we talked a lot about him being available is the number one key to the success of this team. What's the latest?
Yeah, from what I'm told, he wanted to play. Obviously, that was the plan throughout the day. But anytime you have a groin adductor injury, like if you're not mobile, if you're not agile, if you're not able to move on the floor like he wasn't the other night in Miami, it's hard to throw a guy like that out there. And even just seeing him in Miami the other night, it reminded me against the Suns, if you guys remember, a couple years ago in the playoffs, where he tried to play through a groin strain in a playoff game, an elimination game, and he could barely get up and down the floor. That version of Anthony Davis is not going to help the Lakers win. And I think for them, LeBron not being on the court last night in those moments when AD wasn't available, this is a team that just completely struggled without him on the floor and no AD. And if you have LeBron playing, on a minutes limit, or if you're trying to limit him at all, it's just not going to be a recipe for success. So it doesn't seem like there's anything structurally wrong with AD. They play again tomorrow in Phoenix. You assume that he will try to warm up and try to play in that game.
Just for the record, guys, it's November 19th is when the Rockets and the Lakers play again. So write it down. Write it in your calendars. Whatever
Is it
that
in
might
LA?
look like. Is it in LA? I don't. Yeah, great question.
We're going on a field trip, guys.
Hey,
We're going on a field trip.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Michelle. They can't blame this loss on Anthony Davis. Every other loss, maybe, when he wasn't aggressive at the end of the games. This last night wasn't his fault.
Well, or you could say it is his fault for not being available. I mean, you can really twist anything however you want, Chandler.
Our Richard Jefferson said last night, unavailability is the best kind of ability, or something like that. I was like, he's still finding a way to go at Anthony Davis.
He's not wrong, but he's not right, and I totally get it. Other games happening last night. The other team that has only lost a game, the Denver Nuggets, hosting the Warriors, and they get this one done. It was a goodie, 108-105, NBA best right now, 8-1. Jokic with 35, 13 rebounds. Steph had 23, 6 of 17. There were some fun moments. Steph and Jokic, believe it or not. Draymond's out. Jamal Murray's out. Is there anything really for the long term that these two teams can take from a game like this with two major guys out? Lou.
Yeah, I think after a game like this, you're always gonna hear the term "that was a good team win," and so for both of these championship caliber teams, I think they were kind of sizing each other up. I saw this as it was a low scoring game. It was a good grind out game, and both teams were really locked in on their game plans, and they were duking it out. And it came down to Steph having an opportunity to tie that basketball game up with a little floater in the lane. A little tidbit from that game. he had Clay wide open in the corner, and nobody said he didn't make the right basketball play. Everybody was okay with him taking that shot, even though he had another sharpshooter there in the corner and having an opportunity to take that game into overtime. And so I thought this was a great game. Both teams were duking it out. Both teams were stuck in their game plans, trying to trump each other, and Denver got over the hump. And so I think this is a great measuring stick for both basketball teams.
So the Nuggets keep moving along. Chandler, Jokic. I know this is it's a big question, right? Across the league, is there any other player on his respective team that has a bigger impact on the success of that team than Jokic?
Probably not. I mean, you can take Jokic off his team. They might not be a playoff team. Like he's that good. He's that important. But I will say this, watching this game last night, everyone's always going to talk about Jokic, and then we're going to throw in some Jamal Murray, how good he is. But KCP and Aaron Gordon, the roles they play on this team are unbelievable. The defense, KCP, this just shows you also how good Steph Curry is, because I wish we had the clips. I meant to text Conrad. He was hawking Steph Curry all the way around the court. They were switching everything. His effort last night was unbelievable defensively. And then the same thing with Aaron Gordon. He was all over the offensive glass. You hear these terms, this guy does a little bit of everything. He does all the little things. Aaron Gordon is that guy, plus more. Plus he can score. Plus he can defend the other team's best scorer. Plus he rebound. He does it all. So those two guys, as much as Jokic is important to this team and how great he is, dropping his 35 and 15 and 10 games, KCP and Aaron Gordon are so valuable for this team on the defensive end, because we all know Jokic is not the best defender. Same with Murray. So those two guys really carry the load and allow them to have that freedom and flexibility on the offensive end. So give flowers to those guys, because they were unbelievable last night. And obviously Jokic was as well.
Shams, I want to ask you about Jamal Murray, because he was out with a hamstring injury, which he suffered on Saturday. Is there an update to his timetable for a return?
He's going to be out an extended period of time. Hamstring strains aren't days, they're weeks. And so the Nuggets are preparing to be out without him for the foreseeable future. And so when you think about it, Reggie Jackson slides into the lineups, 20 points, 6 assists for him last night. He's going to play a lot more. Colin Gillespie coming off the bench, he's going to be playing a lot more. So when you think about it, this is going to be a group by committee. I don't think it really in the regular season is going to impact this group. What Nikola Jokic is doing right now, I mean, 31 points, 14 rebounds, like 7 assists over plus a night over the last 5 games. He's going to continue to be a triple-double machine. But I think for the Nuggets, it's about being careful with Jamal Murray. This is a guy that had ACL. You want to make sure that he's 100% for the second half of the season.
You know, on the other side, Draymond Green, once again, not in the lineup. When he's out of the lineup, Lou, what is the biggest effect that you see?
I think when he doesn't play, you're missing your quarterback. You know, he's going to be the guy that's going to facilitate the offense. He starts a lot of those fast breaks off of his rebounds. He's the guy communicating on defense. He's their best screener. He does so many different things. He's a Swiss Army knife for this basketball team. And when he goes out of those games, it makes it so much more difficult for Steph Curry and Klay Thompson to do the things that they usually do on the offensive end, simply because of the way Draymond has learned to play off of those guys. And so they need him in that lineup to be successful. I know they had some back and forth about his contract or whatever, this and that, but, you know, he's signed back and he's on that team, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be very vital to their success going down the line.
Can I ask a quick question before we move on to the next one? Chandler, you first. Would you rather have Aaron Gordon or Draymond Green? I was asked this last night. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, it's tough just because the resumes Draymond Green's blows him out of the water. Currently, as it stands right now, Aaron Gordon all day long.
Okay. All right. You, Lou?
Give me the guy with 4.
All right. Fair enough. I was wondering what the answer to that be, because I was like, right now? That's a weird question.
I love Aaron Gordon. I think he's great.
Sure.
I love Aaron Gordon. I think he's great for that group. It looks like since he's been in Denver, he's allowed to play free. He's not the main guy. I think they wanted him to be the number 1 guy in Orlando, and he can kind of float into that 3rd, 4th spot sometimes, and even be the second best player on a lot of nights. But I think Draymond Green, he's the heartbeat and the soul of that basketball team.
Isn't it crazy that it's all about like situation, opportunity? If the show was going on, we wouldn't talk about Aaron Gordon or Orlando for a whole season. Now he goes to Murray, plays along Jokic, plays along Murray. They win a championship. Now he's coming like a household name that everybody knows. Just
and he's playing amazing, man.
Yeah.
Playing amazing, yeah.
I know. Chandler, that's like you on TV. Like with us, you're a star. And I love that for you. Moving on, the Nets and the Clippers were playing out here last night. Nets defeat them by 7. Clippers are now 0-4 on the road. Wow. Okay. Paul George did have 24. I want to make sure we put that in there because he only had 10 the other night. James Harden finished with 12, 5 assists, but 5 turnovers. I know, Chandler, you referenced the last one as a first date and that the second date's when the magic happens. When does the chemistry kick in?
The third date, Michelle, maybe? Just listen. It doesn't. Good things aren't easy, Michelle. So listen. This is a tall task for them. It's not going as quickly as we thought it would. But listen, I said when this first happened, this starting lineup could be an issue. And the minute they lose 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row, there's got to be a change. And I don't know if that's going to come now, if they're going to keep riding this out. But when you look at their stats, Westbrook 6 of 18, Paul George 7 of 20, Kawhi Leonard 7 of 16. That's inefficient. It's not coming easy to them. They're not getting easy looks. To have them all below 50%, it's hard to win games, even against a team like Brooklyn. Like there's just no easy wins anymore in the NBA. The talent is too high. So I don't know if it's going to be a rotational thing. I don't know if it's going to be switching up the lineups. I don't know if it's going to be, having that conversation with Russ or James coming off the bench and carrying that second unit with the PJ Tuckers and the Norman Powells. But losing 2 in a row, I know it's early. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But this isn't a good start for them. They're kind of all in with this team, and this is not the start they wanted. James Harden's got to do a better job taking care of the basketball. He's got responsibility. He can't have 5-6 turnovers in games.
Right.
I think it's going to start getting better. I think it's going to, get easier, but it looks like a flop so far, but they still have time.
They got time. He mentioned all the shots taken last night, Lou, and it started with Paul George at 20 and it trickled down to Russ, then Kawhi, then Harden. Shot distribution wise, is that the ideal workup of that?
I think this is how it's going to be for this basketball team. It's gonna fluctuate, between the 4 guys. Who knows who's going to get the most shots in a given night? Whoever has it going, T. Lue is going to be the type of coach. He's going to feed the beast. Whoever has it rolling, he's going to draw a plays for those guys. And like I said before, I would like to just see them play more in tune, set some screens, slip off of each other, play more in gaggles, maybe some pin downs, and where you're using each other's abilities to get open on the offensive end. Instead, we're just seeing a lot of ISO basketball. And again, you got 3 guys that play the same position. So 2 guys are out of position in situations that they're not normally in, and it's showing on the offensive end for this team. But as far as shot selections go, I think that it's going to be nice when Kawhi is going to be the leader. It's going to be nice when Russ has it going. Obviously, it's going to be nice when James and PG have it going. Hey, you made this bench, you got to lay in it. So it's gonna be different every night.
Chandler, if the primary ball handler for this Clippers team should be who?
I mean, the primary ball handler's got to be Russ or James. They're more that point guard position. Their best player is Kawhi.
But if they're in the same at the same time, now what?
Again, like Lou said, I think it changes based off what's happening in that game. I don't think it really matters in this offensive system who brings the ball up, who's actually labeled the point guard. I think whoever gets the rebound, I think that's the guy that can bring the ball up, and they're all interchangeable. They all can kind of play different positions. I think their best player is Kawhi Leonard. I think he should be their closer. If the game on the line tonight, high score, I think he's getting the ball in the ISO. But like Lou said, it's different. They have 6 guys that could have 30, that could have the hot hand that night, that are going to get their number call at the end of the game. So that's the luxury of having this much talent. But it's also could be a problem having that much talent, because we have questions like this. And if we have the questions, they definitely have the questions, and they're all wondering the same thing. But it's going to change every single night. But I still think Kawhi Leonard's their best player.
I have no argument there. There was another game that technically counted as an NBA game. Spurs at the Garden. Well, it was Wemby's big Garden debut, and it was not a good one. The Knicks win this one very easily, 126-105. Wemby's line, 14 points, 9 rebounds. He missed his first 7 shots, and he only had a basket in the first 3 quarters. 1 basket. Brunson with 25. Randall, 23, 16, and 5. Mitchell Robinson was a problem. It's one of his worst games so far, Chandler. He was hearing chants of overrated. What was the biggest key for the Knicks in putting a stop to Wemby's big debut?
I'll give Mitchell Robinson credit. There were plays, even when the ball was getting taken out, Mitchell Robinson had his forearm on his body. I saw multiple times Wemby kind of looking at the ref, like, what is this? What's happening? I don't think he's got that kind of physicality so far in his short NBA career, but 14-9 being his worst game as a rookie, that's gotta feel nice. It's not that bad of a game. And he had some flashes. This game, this is more of a give credit to the Knicks. They looked tough last night. They can really defend. When they dig in, they have all these tough defensive-minded guys. They can make it a nightmare. They can slow it down. Teams aren't going to score a lot of points to them. And I knew Wemby was in trouble when he had said to the media that he thought MSG would be bigger. No.
Come on, that was innocent. It wasn't innocent.
I know. But listen, it's just chalk this one up to a bad game. I don't think it was the hype. I don't think it was MSG. The Knicks just did a really good game plan of guarding him, and he still got open looks. Like his little inbound plays where he comes up to screen, he just missed those shots. Those were good looks. And like I said, 14-9 is his worst game of his career. He'll take that all day long.
I mean, Lou, he's 19. There's a lot of expectation. This is normal, right? There are going to be a lot of these games for Wemby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't say get used to it, but he's going to have nights where he struggles. Listen, at the end of the day, he's a rookie. He got an R next to his name, and it showed last night. And listen, with a young player coming from overseas with so much expectation, every game is going to be an experience for him. So him having his first game in Little Madison Square Garden, it can be a little intimidating. It can be a little intimidating. So I thought maybe, the lights was a little bright for him last night, and it showed. But I think he'll bounce back. He'll grow off of those experiences, and he'll come back bigger, stronger than ever.
How about this? What?
I was saying, how about this stat I saw? There's 2 players in the NBA averaging 22 points per game, shooting 45% from the field and 45% from the 3. Steph Curry and RJ Barrett. So he's also kind of dragged through the media. People have not been talking about him. This kid's low-key having a fantastic year, and he's critical, along with Randall, along with Brunson, to the Knicks' success. But that's an impressive start from that kid.
By the way, I'm not sure why I got so excited.
Chandler. That was great. That was very good. I don't know where you got that stat from.
Twitter, baby. All over Twitter.
That's perfect. Yeah, no, he did get killed last season, so he's coming in strong for the beginning of this one. We're taking a quick break here. I know it's early in the season, but it's really never too early to start panicking when Run It Back returns.
Run it up, run it back, 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 run it up, run it back.
It's officially Shams time. All right, Shams, you talked yesterday, you reported about the draft possibly being extended to 2 days. Is that happening? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a serious discussion right now that the NBA is having with its teams and internally about possibly extending the NBA draft to 2 days, splitting the first and second rounds, and giving teams more time between draft picks, between rounds, adding another day. We know Nikola Jokic, when he got drafted several years ago, he was drafted during a commercial. So allowing more time, and I think teams have also requested seeing if there's possibilities to extend draft times. The second round is really, really accelerated. So that is a increasing possibility and something that the league will continue to discuss. And this could happen as soon as this upcoming draft in 2024.
Oh, well, this is perfect for these guys to talk about, because Chandler, we'll start with you. Second round picks, both of y'all. What do you think about the idea of a second day of this?
I don't love it. As a player, as a kid, first of all, no one's going to watch the second round of the draft if it's televised the next day. Most people don't anyways. They kind of change the channel by the time the second round comes. this is more for teams, and I understand that. I think it's 3 minutes in between each pick, and so it gives teams more time to sleep on it and kind of adjust and see the big board of who's gone. But no, if I'm a kid and I'm preparing and I'm having a party at my house and I don't go first round, I got to kick everyone out and invite them back the next day for the second round draft. No shot. I hate this.
Interesting. That was easy.
And imagine a guy that's sliding in the draft and he has to wait overnight to still get picked. If he was supposed to be a first round pick or maybe an early second round pick, now I have to wait overnight, deal with the agony of not knowing, and I can still get cut. Let's not drag this thing out.
God forbid the kid is in the green room and then falls to second round.
Hey,
so
what do you do?
Draft to the hotel. To then there's not even. Do they invite some of the second round picks, like the top 10 of the second round, to the green room? I don't like.
I hate it.
Yep.
I don't know what your experience was, Chandler, but I watched myself get drafted by myself in the lobby of ESPN Zone. I walked out of my own draft party. And I was frustrated because I was supposed to be a late first rounder, and I slid into the second round, and I was frustrated, and I was watching it on the screen in the lobby of ESPN Zone myself. So do I want to go through that overnight and load all my family back up to go back to ESPN Zone or stay at home or do whatever I'm going to do for another night of that? Absolutely not.
Yeah, my experience was similar. I was told I was going to be a mid to late first round pick, and I kind of had a party at my house, at my parents' house in Orlando. And once that first round ended, I ended up going 38. From that 30th pick to the 38th pick, I got so drunk that by the time the 38th pick happened, I don't even know who took me. I was pissed off. I didn't even care because the whole goal as a kid is to go first round. You want to go lottery, or then you want to go first round.
Absolutely.
As soon as the 30th pick is chosen and your name, it's not your name, you're hot. So and then also, like Jokic, there must have been the longest trade in the history of the NBA right before they announced my pick. So it was like an 8-team trade. And then they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, the 38th pick, the Rockets take Chandler Parsons. And I was like, what? No, thanks.
No thanks. Yeah. No thanks. Wow, Shams, that was a lot of information.
and then there was a lockout. So my draft really sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was a really nice, depressing memory lane. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, we don't want a second day, Shams. Go tell everybody that.
Dip it in the bud, Shams.
Yeah, just kill it now. You went to a game last night, Shams. I love it when you get out, even though it's not technically a social outing for you. But Suns Bulls, Devin Booker, what is going on?
Yeah, Bradley Beal's back in the lineup, so now they have two of their stars, and so they've still yet to play with three of their guys, Kevin Durant, Brad Beal, Devin Booker, in a single regular season game. But I'm told Devin Booker is eyeing a potential return on this upcoming homestand that the Suns have. They play the Lakers tomorrow night at home, then they play OKC on Sunday, and then next Wednesday they play the Timberwolves at home. So 3-game homestand. The hope is that in one of these games, Devin Booker's able to play, and then finally you're able to get those three guys in the lineup together. Last night was a good win for the Suns. It was an ugly finish. Yusuf Nurkic had a clutch shot late, but I think overall for the Suns team, it's getting these three guys on the court together and seeing how they gel.
We appreciate you, Shams. I know the weekend starts for you, kind of, at least from this show, so enjoy it. We will see you bright and early on Monday in Los Angeles. But we will stick around because the Bulls, the very team that Shams just saw play, they're off to a 3-6 start. That is not good. And the big three, their numbers are down across the board. Chandler, is it time to panic?
Yeah, this same time last season, I was panicking about this team. And they decided to run it back, and now it's the same outcome as it was last year. The good news is Vooch, DeMar, Levine, these guys can all play. These guys are all valuable. I think the longer this lingers, though, and the worse the Bulls keep getting, the lower their value gets. You could probably get a haul for all these guys. A lot of contending teams that we keep talking about, the 76ers want to add this piece. The Dallas Mavericks are always looking to add a piece. Either of these three guys would be great on both of those teams. So if I'm the Bulls, yeah, I'm considering chalking it up, getting rid of, 1, 2, or all three of these guys and kind of rebuilding for the future because this team is just not panning out how they thought it would.
It does feel like deja vu. Another weird kind of deja vu is the Lakers. They're last in the NBA in 3-point shooting. So it's not as dire as it was at this point last year, but the role players they have around LeBron and AD, Lou, is it time to panic?
As far as 3-point shooting goes, yes. I don't see the personnel on this team that's going to close that gap. I think they'll play better as a team going down the stretch. LeBron James led teams, they always make adjustments. He always make adjustments to put himself in a position to get over those humps, get through a lot of adversity. But I just don't see the personnel on this basketball team where it's going to get very much any better than what it is. Maybe a spot or two, but other than that, I think this is the identity of that team.
This will be fun to watch as the course of the season goes on. How about the Kings in California as well? 3-4. I know there's no De'Aaron Fox. That is worth saying out loud, Chandler, but is it time to panic in Sacramento?
I wouldn't panic. Again, it's so early, but yeah, this team is not the team that it can be with De'Aaron Fox. He's the engine. He's the heart and soul of that team. Him and Sabonis are obviously the 1 and 2 headed monster there, but he's their guy. He's their best player. They're only going to go as far as he can take them. And last year, I feel like for Sacramento, it was a huge step. They got off the hump. They made the playoffs. This year now, people want to see them advance in the playoffs, and it's not happening so far this year. But again, it's early. It's 7 games in. But I don't know how long this kid's out, but they're not going to be very good without him in the lineup.
This one. The Grizzlies. I feel like panic time was multiple times already, but they are the worst team in the league. They're 1-7. And as we all know, Ja Morant still has a while to go in his 25-game suspension, Lou. If you're in Memphis right now, are you already panicked?
It's pandemonium in Memphis. We passed panic. we are past panic. This is a team who's been really good over the years. They've made a lot of noise in the Western Conference. They carved out a lane for themselves and gave a lot of teams trouble. And to start this season 1-7, and I know you got to play 17 more without Ja Morant. You got to play 74 more without Steven Adams. This is going to be a bad stretch. This is going to be a bad stretch for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think we passed panic.
For me, this should be very eye-opening to Ja Morant. You go from a championship contending team to making dumb decisions off the court that now have ruined your entire season for a franchise. You see that their season tickets are the lowest in the league. You can sit lower bowl.
I saw like $20 lower bowl seats.
It's embarrassing. So the fact that this team went from such high hopes and such potential with the defensive player of the year and Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane blew up as one of the best shooters. They had Marcus Smart, but their best player is out and he's out for 25 games. And this isn't going to get better. Steven Adams is valuable. He's out. So this team is in a tough situation where 1-7. This a year ago, I would have never imagined the Memphis Grizzlies starting off this poorly, but this just shows the impact of Ja Morant and the decisions he made is costing his team pretty much this entire season. This is a tough hole to get out of.
It's also,
I think I had them as a sleeper pick for sneaking into the playoffs. I want to change my mind.
They're sleeping. They're sleeping. You got that right. They're on Ambien.
It's not just the team. If you think about the trickle down effect of what Ja has put his team in this position, you got concessions, you've got people in the, like everyone's jobs are affected by this. And you're right, Chandler. I hope it's eye opening so that we never, ever do this again. We've had a couple deja vu questions in this lineup here. And this next guy, I feel like we've done this. Karl Anthony Towns, this the topic that comes up. He's averaging career low in points and field goal percentage. Is it time, Chandler? Not even panic. Do you trade him? What do you do?
What's crazy is they're 5-2 and they're sitting third in the Western Conference with him playing way below par of what he's used to. So yeah, if I'm them, I'm shopping. I'm listening. He's such a great talent, and the way he plays and how versatile he is, he can shoot the ball. I think he's a perfect fit, honestly, for Anthony Edwards. He just hasn't found his rhythm this season, and he's a quirky guy. Like so there's some different things about him. But yeah, just like the Bulls players, he's that good where you can probably get a lot for him. So sure, I'm listening. I don't know if I'm panicking just based off their start and how they're surprisingly 5-2. But yeah, the amount that you can get for Karl Anthony Towns, I'm listening. That's for damn sure.
We are listening. Andrew Wiggins, I talked a lot about him during the game last night. Career low in points and field goal percentage. He is a big part of what they're supposed to be doing with the Warriors. Lou, do you panic?
I would panic. You know, this Golden State team is, I don't want to say obviously, but they're at the end of a run. They're at the end of an era. You never know how many opportunities they're going to have to compete for a championship again. And so I think this team is in go mode, and they need him to be the third best player on that team. And with their injury history, he's going to have to be one or the two best player on that team on a lot of given nights. And so he has to play a lot better to give this team an opportunity to do that. So I'm definitely panicking.
I love that we're bookending this segment with the two teams that trade deadline time we talk about the most. We started with the Bulls. We're ending with the Raptors. Pascal Siakam, fewest since his third year in the league and shooting the worst of his career, Chandler. Panic time?
Yeah, just because I feel like he's almost checked out. Like watching him play, everything I hear, he's been, and guys don't like it. They don't like hearing their names in trade rumors. He knows he's not part of their future plans. He's been shopped pretty much all summer long and continuing to be this season. So yeah, I'd be concerned, but also like this, I think this is part of their plan, right? This is the team that's going to make moves. They're talking about getting rid of a lot of guys, and he would be the first one probably to go. So yeah, I think that's getting in his head a little bit. You're seeing it in his production, but this is, again, he's like a Towns. He's like a DeRozan. This is a guy that a Philadelphia would love to have, that the Dallas Mavericks would love to have, that any of these teams that need that second or third star to take that jump, Siakam's that guy. So it's not happening right now this year, but if you're a bidder on the other side, you're taking this with a grain of salt because this guy can help you.
Keep your eye on the guys up north. Taking a quick break here. When we come back, that man has a family, and I hope there's some Dylan Brooks in it.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it. Very impressive. Amazing.
These men have families. Dylan Brooks, Kevin Huerter.
You asked for Dylan Brooks, Michelle. You just got him on the wrong end.
I mean, I don't even know who did anybody win here? I mean, yeah, they went in, but my eyes aren't pleased. I know that.
That's nothing.
I wish, yeah, we'll get better ones out of him. LeBron with this is very old school, deja vu. Tyler Hero on the receiving end. Dang.
At least he tried to dunk it. I'm so amazed at the dudes that see LeBron behind him and still try and just like lay it at them. At least he tried to dunk the ball.
How does it work? Do you feel someone right behind you? Like what's the sensation here?
When you see that train, you hear him, you feel him, you smell him, you know he's coming.
There's no denying he's right behind me. All right, Isaiah Jackson. Well, these are always going to make it because it's Wemby, and it looks crazy. And I'm okay with that.
Good help side defense.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. His family is fine.
His family. All right, Kyrie. Okay, there you go. That's why you guys love his handles.
That's why he's fun to watch.
Easy.
Man, get out of it. Yeah, that was fun. Nothing you can do.
Nothing.
Could be worse.
Literally nothing.
Could be
you can do.
Here we go. Anthony Edwards.
Oh, come on, young fella. It was pretty.
Wow.
You know what? I think he might be my favorite player in the NBA.
Really?
I love him. I think he's so good. He's funny as shit.
ATL.
You love him? Lou, who's your favorite player? You got to pick one now since Chandler just threw that out there.
I don't know, since I'm on the spot.
Yeah, you are.
Since I'm on the spot, I'm going SGA.
There's only 400 guys to choose from. Just pick one. Cade.
A lot of blocks on the family segment today.
I kind of love the blocks. That's your guy, Chandler.
The NBA goes defense. We love it.
How about that? 7 games in, we're talking about defense. That is my guy there.
Yeah, that is your guy. Let's have a moment
call
here.
the
All right,
foul, ref. Call the foul.
This didn't count, but it's still fun to watch. So we will.
PJ Tucker is at that age. He can't afford a lot of these highlights, man. He's gonna get age shamed. Come on, P. Get out of there, P.
Do you feel the knee? Do you feel that knee in the chest, or is the embarrassment moment taking over?
The embarrassment.
The embarrassment is there.
A man's knee.
I love that this kid wanted the review so bad.
Review it, please. He was quick on that.
That's enough. I could spend a whole hour on the review thing too. Every single play you see someone on the court do this. It's ridiculous.
It's annoying. There should be one guy that's allowed to do it, and that's it. Not everybody.
It should be a tech every time. Every time a player does this and they don't review it, should be a technical foul.
Good
And
Lord.
I hate the guys that argue fouls and calls that they know are fouls and calls. Like, man, just keep your credit good. Shut up.
Yeah, it's literally 100 cameras looking at you fouling the guy. Stop.
I know. It's almost just a habit now. I think it's not even, it's subconscious.
It's definitely habitual. Definitely.
I don't love it. I don't love it either. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, it's prop party time. Have we kept track of how good we are at this? No. Run it back's next.
I think I suck.
Run it back, yeah. Run it over. The run it back, yeah. Run it over, run it back. Run it over.
All right, this is the Giannis moment last night, heard around the world. It's his second technical of the game, which is an ejection for quote unquote taunting. And then, yeah, guys, thoughts?
Is that Isaiah Stewart? He did that too. That's the
Yes.
man that wanted to kill LeBron.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm doing it to that guy.
But
That's weak. That's so
it is
weak.
weak.
And
It's weak, but it's consistent, man. They've been calling it weak like this for years, so you gotta call it.
It's
Ooh, I think
early.
he's gonna come back.
Early in the second half too. It's like you
Right.
want to be mad at resting players. Be mad at the refs when they kick out the star players with 20 minutes to play in the game.
And I would argue the taunting of it all. I feel like there's a lot worse.
Does he
Any
get
kind of a taunt.
fined? Does he get fined for sitting down courtside and mocking the refs even more?
I mean, it'd be worth it. He can afford it. It's a good fine.
NBA can
I'll be
relax a
fine with
little bit. We had an image problem at one point, but now I think they can relax a little bit. Let us back to trash talk. Do it.
Hey, barely looks at him. This is ridiculous. This is soft. And I don't care for it. I thought something bad had happened when I saw Giannis got ejected. And then I saw the video and I was like, what?
What was? Do we know what the first tech was?
Language towards a ref.
I wonder if it was the same ref too. 'Cause that ref looked. That
It
ref
might have
looked
been,
pissed
guys.
off.
Prop party time. Chandler, you're up first. Let's make some money. What do you got?
What do I have? There it is.
You don't know. You don't know nothing.
All right. Again, I like my little Twitter stats. I saw that the Magic, I think, are undefeated in the first quarter. This game's in Mexico, so God knows what they were doing last night. But I like the Magic
Nice.
in the first quarter, and then I like the Bucks bouncing back. I think Giannis has 40 tonight, and he's pissed off. He's getting tossed. The Bucks -3.
Yeah, 40 is a good guess. Lou?
I'm going Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks to score 15 plus tonight. He's been a very bright spot on that team. Former teammate of mine, young fella, worked hard, played hard, finally get an opportunity to play. I'm giving him 15 plus tonight, and I like Pacers money line.
All right, I got Dame's going to have 3 or more 3-pointers, also defending his teammate. And Bancaro, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try 21.5. That's going to do it for us. We'll see y'all bright and early on Monday. Have a good one.
Run it over, the running back, yeah. Run it over, run it back, run it.